Ladies and gentlemen, welcoming you all to International Affairs being broadcasted here in the SATV's Gulshan studio. I am going to be your host for the program today, and there are exciting updates from all around the world that we shall be discussing, dissecting to understand the betterment of humanity and where the geopolitics is leading us on. We know that we have only 4 months left of the year with interesting updates from all around the world, especially regarding the U.S. stance on various avenues. Not only in the US but as well as all over the world. Before we begin the discussion, let me introduce my panel. Senior journalist and columnist Khaja Mainuddin is gracing us in the studio. I welcome you onto the program. Alongside our geopolitical correspondent is joined throughout Zoom, Ambassador Norman Floyd Barnes, all the way from Washington, District of Columbia. Beginning today's discussion with Norman Floyd Barnes, the news suggests that US President Donald Trump is stating there is no talks with Iran underway or scheduled. As he is stating this, however, son-in-law and special envoy Jared Kushner is in the Middle East trying to dissect, trying to understand what can be done about the memorandum, if there is any kind of scheduled peace talks. Of course, very different commentary coming from Jared Kushner as well, and Donald Trump sharing images of the Strait of Hormuz depicting it as a U.S. territory. Much of the conversation this week has been regarding how U.S. and its allies are sharing differences amongst themselves. Passing it on to Norman Floyd Barnes, what are some of the updates you have on your desk? A very good morning to you, Norman.
Good morning. Today we just here in the States, Florida had its primaries done, Democratic primaries, and there was some unique changes made. There was a possibility that we're going to have, there will actually be a new governor there. It may not be a Republican. So we're waiting to see how that turns out. The president has stated to the press that he has no plans on negotiating or does he doesn't see any opportunity right now for negotiation regarding a peace deal in the Middle East. So at that same time, Oman and Iran are talking about trade routes. The routes, the president stating that the routes are open and the ships are passing, but we're getting conflicting information about that. There was a tank attack, and there was some injuries. We still don't know exactly where that emanated from. And there's talk about this new Arctic route around Russia,
right?
China, Russia, towards England. So alternatives are being talked about right now. So the biggest thing right now is that the countries are now looking at alternatives instead of waiting for this situation in the Middle East, the Strait of Hormuz to come to surface. So that's where we're at right now. Alternatives. We are basically at a standstill regarding the conversations with our United States and Iran about peace. And here we go, another day.
Right. Excellent opening from Norman Floyd Barnes. Really stagnating and slowing down of geopolitics we see this week without any kind of direction. However, as I make of Norman's statement about the Arctic Circle, various solutions, alternatives, routes definitely coming back to reinforce the economies of the world. What Norman was referring to was a route from China all the way through the Bering Strait in the north, in the Arctic Circle, which would connect to a port in the United Kingdom. Coming to the studio with Khaja Mainuddin. This is a crucial time for world economy, as we have only 4 months left of the year. And the Arctic Circle, what it would do is effectively it will allow China to reach Europe and European countries without crossing the Strait of Malacca in Southeast Asia, even the Suez Canal. So this would mean that it's a different route. However, challenges do remain. The Arctic Circle is a very cold, barren area, and it would be very hard for ships to cross through the thick ice during the winter seasons, crucial for Europe because that is when they need the most energy. How you feel about this issue as well as the Middle East situation?
The last thing you mentioned is basically the outcome of what we often quote, necessity is the mother of invention. When there is a barrier, people will try to make some alternative or some innovate something. Since China in the last few decades has faced enormous difficulties in entering the warm water, whether it is through Malacca or through Karachi port or any other sea outlet. So there is a difficulty, and of course the United States did not like the way China was growing. So China, with its mighty economy and of course the military ambition now it has, is trying to expand, is trying to assert its position in the global politics and also to sustain its economy. So quite naturally China is supposed to make an alternative, and we see the Belt and Road Initiative as part of that.
Yes.
And the last thing you mentioned, going through the Russian Federation to connect to the North Pole, actually connecting through the North Pole. I understand the difficulty, but still China will keep it as an option, understandably. And regarding the Middle East, what Donald Trump said is no talk at all. And the question arises, if there is no talks at all, how is there a stalemate? How is there a standstill in the war? Or why is it not a full-scale war?
Correct.
So that says something. Since there is no full-scale war or American attack, one-way attack by America and Israel on Iran, so that indicates some sort of behind-the-scenes negotiation or any kind of activities. You see the movement in Oman, negotiations between the United States and United Arab Emirates, and the movement of the American officials in the Middle East. That clearly indicate that something is going on behind the scene. And of course, this is not a very, everything is not very healthy, because world economy is suffering. Countries like ours are suffering because we have a huge interest in the Middle East, not only energy but also the employment of our brothers and sisters
the
in the
manpower
Middle East.
there, yes.
Manpower, yeah. So that's why I think this is a critical situation. This has some similarity, I think, maybe in American mind with the post-Vietnam debacle. So Americans were hesitant when America had a huge debacle in the Vietnam, and Soviet Union was expanding. Intercontinental ballistic number probably was higher in Soviet Union than in America at that point in time.
Right.
And then Soviet Union had intervened in the Afghanistan. There was the Iranian Revolution. Everything together, America had a difficult time in the 70s. And then America came back, in my mind, through the first Iraq war in 1991, when Saddam Hussein first occupied Kuwait, and then the senior Bush had a victory in that war. So American psyche has significantly changed at that point in time. But nowadays, Donald Trump cannot claim a straightforward victory in Iran. So, and also it is being challenged in some other areas, in regions in the world, and everything is not going as it was supposed to go. You see the movement of BRICS, China, Russia, India, Brazil, South Africa, and joined by some other powers.
Right.
There is a polarization going on. So I think this is a confusing time for America in the Middle East.
Of course, excellent statements by Khaja Mainuddin, really diving deep into the situation that we see in the Middle East, as well as China's options are on the table regarding the Arctic Circle. However, I am going for a short commercial break. Afterwards, we will be looking at the UAE, the United Arab Emirates. They have some specific news in regards to the Middle East, all of which will be discovered just after a short commercial break. I request our audience to stay tuned for more on this very program. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Panta.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan,
opening an open war conflict with them,
testing nuclear missiles,
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing,
special and exclusive footage that is being played on SATV screen.
Really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks.
Preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement,
They will face better projects.
With presidency of China and President Lee of South Korea.
Trump's White House that is in favor of these things.
Simply not enough action being taken to address the problem of fossil fuels.
What their plan initially is towards the Caribbean, a place that has been met with two types of disasters.
Bangladeshi students at the same level of opportunity internationally and domestically.
International Affairs. Watch every Sunday to Thursday at 2 p.m. only on SATV and SATV Digital. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Pantha.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan,
Opening an open war conflict with them.
Testing nuclear missiles.
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing.
Special and exclusive footage that is being played on.
Welcoming all our viewers back on International Affairs. Here in the studio, I have Khaja Mainuddin as well as Norman Floyd Barnes on Zoom. And the next question will be directed towards Norman Floyd Barnes all the way in Washington. We ended with the stories regarding the United Arab Emirates, which it says that the Emirati air defenses has detected an incoming missile and said that air defense systems were active in the region. And definitely, and I quote, as the Defense Ministry has said, if any sounds are heard, they are the result of air defense interceptions, according to the social media platform X. And not only so, there is announcement from the United Arab Emirates that it will suspend all trade financial activity with Iran until further notice. The question remains how this important trading country is going to face in the coming days. That is because Iran and its unleashing attacks from beginning of the war till today, much of the attacks were aimed towards the United Arab Emirates, and that is why they are the most affected. People usually see Abu Dhabi and Dubai as the new center of the world, as people would call it. Even if you look at financial institutions, it is very lucrative market for investors from all over the world, or at least that was the situation much before the war. However, the situation has changed and people have recognized that it is unstable for business if it is in the state of war. Looming conditions, bad for tourism, bad for multiple sectors in that nation. And I want to ask Norman, how you feel about the United Arab Emirates? They are in between this kind of war between Israel, Iran and the United States. Of course, they do not retaliate in that manner, but they are starting to show some kind of tension in regards to this warlike situation. Norman, I want to get your remark. Of course, financially, people are looking elsewhere for investment. We, of course, have Switzerland and Singapore on the radar as well. How you see about this kind of detail? Norman.
Yes, the tensions in the Middle East is increasing, particularly the timing on this situation with the UAE is the fact that coming September, most of the people, most of the influencers, most of the high impact, the financial people will be coming back into the country from vacation. So September is a very important time. And between September and end of the year, most of the people, most of the tourism is at its peak, and it's a concern to the UAE because of the timing of this. Most of the like I said, tourism is comes between September and December on the way to March. That's when they get the peak of the tourist season. So having these missiles, the two missiles was launched. We still don't know exactly where, but we feel that it's coming from the area of Iran. It was targeting. It fell short in the ocean. It was targeting the maritime infrastructure of the UAE and the Strait. So So we actually do not know exactly who launched the missiles. Iran is saying they did not do it, but the fact that the missiles was detected by the early warning system and the timing of this is very strategic and critical to the the economic livelihood of the UAE. Many people are looking for alternatives versus going back to that area, but the UAE is still vibrant, is still doing business. Tourists is still coming there, and we expect the hype of these tourism to start in September through March. So my analysis is that Iran and their partners are preparing something offensive to disrupt the Gulf states, particularly the UAE. They're the closest, and other states there during the fall session when most of their tourism activities is at its peak.
Right.
Thank you.
According, excellent statements from Norman Floyd Barnes, really simplifying the terms in what UAE is dealing with. I want to also have the same question towards Khaja Mainuddin. United Arab Emirates, a nation that has hosted the U.S. Forces, and that is why the legitimate targets it has become for Iran. Just to get a comment from you, multiple sectors in a nation has been affected in that nation. And it is luring away investment because of the warlike situation. Would you see it as well, this situation? How do you see it?
Situation is very uncertain because the tension between Iran and UAE is only natural because the UAE is an American ally, and Iran wants to prove that if you are an American ally, you cannot live in the Persian Gulf region very peacefully. That is the message Tehran wants to give, and Tehran is giving this message. And if let's assume that this missile came from Iran to UAE, then it is normal and natural that Iran is supposed to do. But if it is not really coming from Iran, what is the next option? Who can do it? The option is Israel. Why will Israel do it? Israel may do it. I'm only guessing that. I'm not presenting fact here. I'm guessing that Israel can do it because to sabotage the peace process.
And it has effectively with the 60
earlier it has done it. So we can imagine that Israel can do it. And Iran, why Iran will do it? Iran do it for multiple reasons. To disrupt peace in that area, to disrupt stability that can bring business and investment to that region. So that is Iran's automatic target, natural target, let me say. So a stable UAE with American alignment is not very healthy for the current Iran, because Iran is a very unstable and under war, under attack. So I think UAE probably will understand in course of time that if peace is restored in this part of the world, then it will help bring business and investors back to the Middle East, especially the Dubai and Abu Dhabi mentioned. Otherwise, in a war situation, nobody will go there. You'll not go there. I'll not go there.
Definitely.
And in fact, there are many Bangladeshis. Some are having jobs there. Some are doing business there. Some are trying to bring investment in Dubai. But they are I know some of them, they are in quite uncertainty about whether they will really stay there or ship somewhere else.
Of course, excellent statements once again by Khaja Mainuddin, really trying to decipher the situation. And as you've mentioned about Israel, the nation that may cause a sabotaging of the region, the story, the next story that I want to read out is basically the same. It follows in line with what you just said. The United States has issued a rare rebuke of Israel after reports emerged it struck a Syrian military airbase near the Turkish border, calling the attack an unnecessary escalation. 8 airstrikes hit the Abu Duhur airport runway and storage facility yesterday, according to Syrian state television, although there were no reports of injuries. As I just read out, I want to get a comment from Norman Floyd Barnes. Israel seeing the necessary need to attack Syria with a new leader just about a year into his term. And we see that the office of the Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister, published a statement which reads, Israel and Syria agreed to a status quo in security matters, which Syria was on the verge of breaching by permitting Turkish troops to deploy at an airbase near Aleppo. The wording that it says, which was on the verge of breaching, which it means it hasn't. That means that it could definitely be considered a sabotaging event. The U.S. definitely said unnecessary escalation. So at the end of the day, one can definitely assume where the direction is going. Norman, I just want to ask you, United States is taking a much more clear, specific, rule-based, evidence-based reporting in this regard. How do you see it? The ties between Israel and U.S. have been strained as of recent. Your commentary will be helpful, Norman.
Yes, the situation is now developing in the region. Turkey, Israel, and Turkey are not seeing eye to eye. Turkey and this recent alliance with Pakistan and Saudi has fractured. It's causing a fracture between the United States and Israel in terms of dealing in the Middle East. So I detect that the U.S. is getting more and more frustrated with the actions of Israel in regards to that region, and Israel is appearing to be more separating themselves from the main activity of the United States and going about their initial plan on dealing with annexation of that region. So I will state that you will probably see more comments come out from the Pentagon and the White House regarding their disdain for Israel and its actions in the Middle East, to the point where they're saying, well, Israel, if you continue at this rate, you will disrail our peacekeeping opportunities and also any opportunity for some type of stability in the region. So I suspect something like that will be coming out soon in regards to Israel. How Israel deals with that, we will see, but we're getting now into the geopolitics of the region. Israel has the election coming up. The United States has the election coming up, and both parties need to show that they are doing something to their people to let them know that we are making progress, or we are trying to make progress in the times where it appears that everything is unstable. There's no clear direction, and no one really can claim any type of victory right now. But we have more costs and more hardship we're seeing moving forward, and the governments apparently cannot come up with some type of narrative stating that we are making progress, or we're not making progress, or we decided to move forward or not move forward. Right now, we're in a state of pause, a long state of pause, which is causing real erosion in terms of the mentality and the psychological thing on the people, on exactly how long we're going to be doing this. Where do our future look moving forward? Are we in a state of pause, a state of stock, and no forward, no moving forward, not moving backwards? It becomes very frustrating, and when people are frustrated, they usually have votes, and the votes are usually not in the favor of the incumbent.
Right. Important commentary from Norman Floyd Barnes. Really uncertain times, and the psychological warfare that we see impending from weeks of blame games, bombardments of territories, and it's becoming the new norm in order for taking this kind of action. Of course, U.S. Special Envoy for Syria, Tom Barrack, yesterday confirming this very news is to establish a deconfliction mechanism amongst Israel, Turkey, and Syria. However, Tom Barrack had mentioned that Turkey had not been warned about the Israeli strikes and consequently observed the aircraft heading north towards its territory, and therefore could have reasonably prepared its very own response referring to possible Turkish military reaction. So this was just steps away from another regional conflict appearing. I want to ask Khaja Mainuddin, how you see this, the Mecca Defense Pact that happened between Saudi Arabia, Turkey, as well as Pakistan. It really has Israel frightened, I would say, in this regard. Would you agree?
To some extent, not entirely, because every country has their own national interest. The Mecca Treaty you mentioned, some people initially assumed that Mecca Treaty may be in support of America. Maybe it is against Iran. Nothing is like that. Nothing is black and white.
Right.
Because every country, be it Egypt, Egypt is still not the part of the treaty, but I understand Israel may be the party to the agreement in course of time. But Turkey, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, everybody concerned about is either its security or national interest, some other interest. Pakistan will be, of course, bothered about its financial economic interests.
Right.
Turkey will be bothered about its influence in the Middle East region, and Saudi Arabia will be concerned about its security guarantee that America usually gives. In a way, Israel may be frightened to some extent because these are all Muslim countries. These are all supposed to act against the Israelis. The reason why Iran is so hostile to UAE is also because UAE is part of the Abraham Accord,
right,
and sympathetic to Israel.
Recognition of Israel is there.
Recognition of Israel. And you see the condition of Israel. Does Israel have any border? Israel is the country in the world which has no border at all. So it is necessarily supposed to be imperialist, supposed to be expansionist, and supposed to attack Syria. And no matter how strongly Washington tries, I don't think this kind of alliance between Turkey, Syria, or Israel, the tripartite agreement or arrangement, I don't think that will work, simply because Israel doesn't believe in border it has at present. What was the actual border in 1948 UN General Assembly supported resolution?
Right.
It is supposed to be Israel and a Palestinian state, two-state
solution.
Two-state solution. And East Jerusalem was supposed to be part of the Palestinian land.
Right.
But Israel in the 1967 war occupied more land, and then it occupied Golan Heights, and one after another.
Now we see violations in the West Bank as well.
Violations in the West Bank as well. Israel doesn't believe in this kind of international arrangement, so it will try to remain expansionist. It will try to occupy more lands. That is why Israel tries to destroy Iran, so that it becomes an easy game for Israel. So in that sense also, since the Mecca Treaty will be another reality in the Middle East, so it is not likable to Israel.
Of course, excellent comments by Khaja Mainuddin, really connecting the dots. I want to also pursue Norman Floyd in the upcoming September United Nations General Assembly, the UNGA 81. This session will be headed by its president, Khalilur Rahman, Dr. Khalilur Rahman, who's the foreign minister of Bangladesh. And of course, this time in September, third week of September is a general week of that happening in New York, where the mayor of New York, Zoran Mamdani, is very adamant regarding Benjamin Netanyahu. Last year, I was at the UNGA 80, and I have seen the entire hall walk out at the minute when Benjamin Netanyahu took to the podium expressing his greater Israel interest. And of course, a year later now, we see how it becomes relevant in the spectacle of war. So I want to get a comment from Norman, how you see the upcoming UNGA 81. And of course, the president this time is Foreign Minister of Bangladesh, Dr. Khalilur Rahman, with issues of Bangladesh as well as the whole world. Norman, how do you believe this year's UNGA is going to go?
My forecast is 81 will be more of the same situations, the same scenario. Nothing has changed. You stated we was in this mess last year, and we'll continue with no progress. The issue is that nothing has progressed. At minimum, it's got worse. It's getting worse. The situation is now to the point where most countries, I'm saying people, are fed up with what's happening because no one has a solution. And that is the problem. So now they're going to have, now the country is looking at alternatives. We can't depend on the big, the most powerful countries who supposedly look after the welfare of the smaller countries. That's no longer relevant. There has to be new relationships made. Sometimes the relationships have to be made with your enemy and foes to create a stable situation. The issue is stability. The world has to come to a point where they have to learn to coexist. I may not like you, I may not love you, but I have to be able to work with you. So that is what's coming on, because there's not going to be any future of any country completely dominating again and taking over and controlling the narrative. The economy is too strong. The economy is too critical. We have to find a way to coexist. And so that means concessions going to have to be made. New deals going to have to be made. Alternatives going to have to be made, because nothing's going to change based on the pattern we're going through now. We're looking at nothing changed from last year till today, except that we looking for tomorrow for another solution. So that is not going to work. We be coming back next year talking the same thing, year two, same old, same situation, and nothing's happening. The UN has to make a decision on exactly, are they going to play, they're going to be involved in this, or are they going to be a bystander? The world needs help. There needs active participation, and we need to come to some type of resolution on how we're going to coexist, because this is not working, guys. This is not working. And the solutions that we are looking at, military solutions, will not work. It's not going to be sustainable. So we have to find another way, just like China's looking at an alternative route around the Arctic Circle. We have to find the same situation in dealing with our present issues.
Of course, excellent themes coming from Norman Floyd Barnes. As we head for a short commercial break, there is more to discuss after the short commercial break. I request our audience to stay tuned for more on this very
screen.
Really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks.
Preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement,
they will face better projects.
With President Xi of China and President Lee of South Korea.
Trump's White House that is in favor of these things.
Simply not enough action being taken to address the problem of fossil fuels.
What their plan initially is towards the Caribbean, a place that has been met with two types of disasters.
Bangladeshi students at the same level of opportunity internationally and domestically.
International Affairs. Watch every Sunday to Thursday at 2 p.m. only on SATV and SATV Digital. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Pantha. The very last segment of International Affairs, and namely because of the name International Affairs, we must discuss some issues regarding our Bangladeshi folk all around the world. In a very tragic news, 9 Bangladeshis have lost their lives in a hotel fire in the New Market in Kolkata in the neighboring country of India, according to the authorities there, all of which have been deceased due to this fire. Our condolences, and I would respect the Ministry of Welfare and Expatriates to understand the situation, to provide the necessary attention and assistance. And not only so, we see that our Foreign Minister, Dr. Khalilur Rahman, is moving towards Qatar in a 2-day state visit to Doha, in, of course, talking about the energy shortages that we are facing as of now. And of course, Bangladesh is looking toward energy cooperation with Qatar, even as Qatar reels from various force majeure with European nations as well as nations in Asia. I want to ask Khaja Mainuddin, really movement of Foreign Minister Khalilur Rahman to Qatar, the LNG shortage as we've seen recently, all of it ties up with Qatar's inability to move its energy products around the Strait of Hormuz. Once again, contested waters. Only last, the Bangla's mother vessel Joyjatra was stuck there for over 3 months, and that had come back after the ceasefire was open. But I want to get your comment. Locally, we've been seeing load shedding well above 3,000 megawatts. What's your take? How the government should respond?
This is a very timely initiative, no doubt. I think it should have been taken much earlier, because we did foresee that energy crisis is coming. Not just because of the Iran war. You see the local economy tumble because of the changes in the political scene 2 years ago, and followed by an interim regime, challenges faced by that regime, by that government, and then we are transition towards democracy, elected government now. So this government has inherited a lot of problems, including the power and energy issues.
Right.
Because you have capacity for producing power, but you don't have energy to produce the power, and also necessary money, as a state minister said, that we have a shortage of money to buy energy and also supply electricity at the moment. So in that context, the Iran war came,
right,
aggravating the situation for the country, because cost of import has increased in the meantime, and foreign exchange reserve was at least challenged, if not depleted, but still challenged, under serious stress. So I think Bangladesh should have taken this initiative much earlier to have negotiation with countries like Qatar, not just Qatar, because Qatar can help us bail out from the situation in terms of energy supply, especially gas supply, LNG, liquefied natural gas, which can significantly solve the problem at home. And also Bangladesh should have negotiation with other countries which can supply crude oil or refined oil without being affected by the war in the Middle East. And also I think some sort of financial arrangement, I mean in terms of payment arrangement, should be there, so that in these times of crisis of foreign exchange, Bangladesh can make the payment in a deferred manner, so that it can help our economy sustain this current crisis. And also the people at home, they are suffering every day from either from gas crisis or electricity crisis. That issue needs to be addressed immediately. Otherwise, people are suffering, economy is suffering, industry is suffering, our exports will come down to some extent, we will not be able to achieve the target, and at the end of the day, the economy will stagnate or deflation may be the course of the day, and the government will not be able to get the revenue it expects in the coming days.
Of course, excellent statements by Khaja Mainuddin, really recapping the local situation here we see in Bangladesh. Just a fact I also want to throw in to the mixture, that the nation of Vietnam has surpassed Bangladesh in terms of RMG export as well. Once again, war-like situation is causing competitors to once again fight for the position in the worldwide markets. I thank Khaja Mainuddin for joining us in the program today. Valuable insights from you. Thanking you for your attendance, as well as Norman Floyd Barnes all the way from Washington. I thank him as well for providing the perspectives, to provide opinions all the way from Washington, District of Columbia. As I end the program today, it has enormous significance on 19th of August. In this day in history, it is also known as National Aviation Day, established in the United States to honor the history and development of aviation on the birthday of Orville Wright, as the aviation expert and historian has stated, or the modern day aircraft has been made. With that being stated, I am signing off on International Affairs. I shall be with you all in tomorrow's program, and I request you all to watch this very program on our social media handles on YouTube, Facebook and X. With that being stated, I am leaving today's program. Thank you all.